This conference will now be recorded.
Hey guys, good morning. Can you hear me okay?
హాయ్ అండి. ఒక చిన్న రిక్వెస్ట్ ఉంది.
Yes.
యాక్చువల్‌గా నిన్న కొంచెం ఇంటర్నెట్ ఇష్యూ ఉండింది. సో, అది రికార్డింగ్ ఉంటదని నేను మధ్యలో అడగలేదు. కానీ అది రికార్డ్ చేయలేదు.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. I don't understand Telugu. Can you please repeat in English or Hindi?
ఓహ్! ఓహ్! సారీ. ఐ థాట్ యూ
No, no problem.
ఆహ్,
No
యాక్చువల్లీ
problem. No problem.
యెస్టర్‌డే ఐ హాడ్ సమ్ ఇంటర్నెట్ ఇష్యూ బట్ ఐ డిడ్ నాట్ మెన్షన్ దట్
Okay.
issue in the class because like anyway we will get that video, right? Recording video.
Haha.
Uh, but I
Yeah. I think what happened yesterday's video, I believe it was not recorded, but no issues. I will record that again one more time and I'll share that with you. Don't worry, guys. Okay. I think somehow recording was not started yesterday. That's the problem. I'll
yeah,
share that work. Okay.
oh yeah, thank you.
No problem. No problem. Okay. So let me go back. Okay, so yesterday we have seen how we can really create the static web application as well as the a dynamic web application, which is using the Python. A straightforward process, right? You guys just go create. We have also seen a concept like a Git, why to use Git, and what are some of the things. We'll definitely get into a more detail. I will explain you about the Git, what are the advantages, what is the kind of like use case for going with Git in the next session. Today we will continue with our discussion, and now I'm going to show you how we can really create a database. But before that, I'll just give you a very quick glance about the database, okay, and then we'll take it from there. Okay, let me show my screen. Okay, okay, can you guys see my screen? Wait a minute, why it is
Not yet.
now?
No.
Okay,
Can see, sir. Yeah,
can see.
yeah,
Perfect. Okay. So let's get started with the Azure database, right? The services which we have, and we will definitely take it from there. So, as we discussed, right, we have three level of discussion or with three types of data which we have, right? Can you just repeat that one more time? What is the three types? Anyone? Data classification or data. So we have structured,
structured,
right?
semi-structured, and unstructured, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So when we talk about unstructured data, so what service we have actually used for unstructured data? Which service we have seen? Azure. Which is the service which can allow us to really store the unstructured data?
Blob.
Blob, right? Storage account, right? The one which we have seen. So we can really create a storage account. Under that, we can create a container, which is nothing but a blob. Okay. A binary large object, right? When we talk about blob is a binary large object. And then we have
Yes.
saved, we can really save any kind of forms or files or everything, whatever we want inside that one, right? Along with that, we
Mhm.
have also seen a basic about file server, and there is one more thing which we have seen about the tables, right? That as your the
Mhm.
storage table. But when we talk about storage table, I don't really consider that as a full-fledged database because that's not really coming up as a production thing, right? In case if you have any kind of a form or some kind of a data where you are just looking for a basic structure which can really go ahead and create some semi structure kind of a data, you can really go ahead and create that, right? That's the main concept. Now today we are going to discuss about the structured data, right? What kind of a structured data and why should we really use structured data, and what is some of the services which we have inside the Azure. Okay. So the first one, when we talk about a structured data, right? Imagine a scenario where you are trying to create a service or a table, or or maybe a application which is for the employee attendance system. Okay, you are trying to build up a application. Now with this application, you have a database. Actually, you created a database which is employee attendance database. Okay, that's a kind of like thing which you have really created. Now along with that, in this database you can create multiple tables. So in this database I have created two tables. One is employee table, and then second thing is attendance table. Now when you structure this data, right, when you put up a data here, I have actually given some fields here. This is nothing but whenever you create a table, right, you have to give a field name, and then you can actually put up some rows and values for that particular field, right? So I have a employee ID, I have name, password, and project. These are my fields. Whatever the fields I'll really create. I'll explain you what is fields and data types and everything here, because these are the data types which I can really go with. Now under this data type, I can start putting up the data, and this is a row wise data. I can put up as many as row I want, and I can start with that one, right? So I'm just starting with 001. ABC is the name, password is something I'm just putting up as a hashtags or strings, and dev, right? And then the project, a particular person is actually belongs to this particular day, right? As I see, I have added four records here inside my one table. Similarly, when I'm trying to create an attendance system, so what I really want, I want that my employee on that particular day, he was present or absent. That's the only thing which I'm looking for. So say like these four employees are there. Every day I'm capturing their attendance. Okay, this is irritating sound. 1 minute. Okay, so every day I'm going to put up their record, and this is what again another table which I have created just to maintain that record. But when I'm maintaining that record, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to say employee ID, the date, and the attendance here. Now here, I'm actually using the same employee ID, whatever I've used here, because that way I can just refer, okay, I can put up a relationship between this field and this field, because I'm going to repeat that one. So say like I have a 001 January, and then a presentation like January 1st, the attendance present what that day, AB, this particular employee ID or employee was actually present. The second employee was also present. Third employee was actually absent. And then the fourth one was present. This is how we generally, even in a Excel file also, if you put up right, you can really put up like this way. So you can start putting up the data, something like this one. When you talk about the second day, because you have completed the 1 day data, second day also you came, again you put up like 01 employee ID 01, second Jan absent. That day, second day, the employee one was actually absent, so you put up absent. So this is how I can start adding some data here. Now the advantage for these two tables is that I can have millions of records. Okay, millions of record. You know how much data we can actually store in the within the Excel file? One Excel file, how many records we can store? Any guesses? How many records we can actually save in one Excel file? No, we can actually go till 1 million records, like 10 lakh records. Guys, you can hear me, right? Hello?
Yes, yes, we can hear. We can
Okay.
hear.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. So we can have 1 million records, like which is 10 lakh records actually in one Excel file, Excel sheet when you talk about, right? But there are a lot of companies who also uses Excel, and Excel is a very beautiful tool for data, analysis or data thing, because it's very handy. It's locally online, locally available, so you can just do some basic things like pivot and formulas, and there are a bunch of things. But still, when you talk about the single user, it's okay. From the single user perspective, it's still okay. But in case if we have an application which is getting used by many users, like 1000 users, how can you ensure that everybody is really using that, updating the data, getting the information and everything? It's not that easy with the Excel thing, right? So for that, you definitely need something like a database management system. Okay. Now, when you talk about these things, there is one more parameter or one more thing which is really coming to our mind, right? As we have seen so far, that I have created one employee table, and I have created this employee tables and fields, actually the data types what I have, and I started adding some data here. Now, there are some types actually which you need to really put up when you are creating a record. Okay, this is I'm talking about the relational database. This is I'm talking about the normal normal structured database, right? I'm not talking about a semi structure and all. Semi structure also follows these kind of a things, but that's a different thing. We will again talk about that in a detail, but this is what we will really get into. So for example, when I talk about employee table, employee ID, name, passport and project, as you can see here, I have created this table. But when creating this table, I have to create something like a primary key for this particular table. Now, as I mentioned last time also we have discussed, right? Primary key is a concept which is coming up with the tables to ensure that you are having a relationship between two different tables, like the way I have shown in the last table, right? So we have a relationship within these two things. Okay. Now, why this primary key is important? Because it needs to be first of all unique. Okay. Why unique? Because say like in case if I create an employee ID here, an employee ID 001 is assigned to ABC. Tomorrow, in case if I add one more user here, okay, one more employee here, and if I put up a 001 again for that employee, do you think this relationship will ever work? It will not work. Why? Because the relationship will only go with unique numbers. I can repeat this number as many as day as I want, because here I want to really get some report out of it, or I want to get some data out of it, which data I can only get in case if this employee ID is unique. And that uniqueness we need to really maintain, and that's what the primary key we generally call it as. So primary key needs to be always unique, okay? And that's where we are putting employee ID as a unique ID, because say like tomorrow I can have a ABC as a name, right? I can have a name, right? I can have, for example, Rohit. There could be multiple Rohit in your company. Okay, a very common name, Amit Kumar, or some Manoj Kumar, something like that. These are the very common names actually which you might have seen in the in a lot of companies, lot of organization. So these common names actually can be there, but the employee ID for that particular person will not be the same. You will definitely have exactly the different employee ID. In fact, in case if companies like TCS or Infosys, all these companies, they maintain the employee ID. Like maybe if you join today with the TCS or Infosys, you will get an employee ID of something like 1,22,222, something like this, because they already actually there are hundred millions like lakhs of people actually already joined, left the organization, but still that employee ID is actually stick to them. It is not going to change, so they are going to increment that one. So immediately what is going to happen, and that's where the auto incremental feature is also important. Why? Because when you are creating a record in this one, auto incremental will also ensure that I am not having a duplicate record here, but still my, from the employer perspective, from the database creation perspective, as a developer, I need to ensure that whenever I'm creating this one, at least in a table, I should have one value or one field which is primary key, which I want to really map it to some other table so I can have a relationship. Okay, this is all again, this is a work for a database administration or a database architect. And in a company, as I mentioned, right, when you talk about developer, you will have a dedicated development team. You will not be a part of, you will be just understanding. So you will just need to understand the basic concept about how this development is really working out. That's where I'm giving you a basic concept about how this database really work out. We are not going to go very detailed about the databases, why to use, how to design and all those things. No, we are not going into that detail. But tomorrow, because you will be working with the database team, you'll be working with developer team, so at least you should understand the concept, basic concepts. Okay. Sorry. So primary key, as I mentioned, it's a very important concept about your relation database. Now once you create this primary key, okay, there are some types also which is really important. Say like in case if you are creating a
Sorry, sir.
field. Yes.
Sorry, sir. Sorry to interrupt. Actually,
Yeah.
I could not catch the primary key part, sir. Could you please tell
Okay,
me?
no problem. Okay. So, okay, take it. Okay. So say like in case if I go back here, right? So what happened, in a table, when I'm creating these two tables here, right? Okay. Now, when I'm creating this two table or I'm designing this particular table, I need to first of all understand that, okay, as a design perspective, how many tables I'm going to create. No development or no database design start directly immediately. Like it's not happen that I'm going to create employee ID and attendance table and I'm just creating any fields. No, it's not happen. Everything goes with the design. It's like when you are creating a building, right? When you are trying to create a building, do you think that no, 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 I will start with one floor and then I'll see in case if I want to go for 10 floors or not? Will it happen ever? What do you think? Any guesses, guys? Please answer. It's like I'm talking to all. Say yes or no at least, so at least I can understand that. But it will never happen. I assume that you guys are have no questions. Okay. Okay, so it's like when you are going to build a building or maybe trying to construct a building, you definitely always think about creating all the 10 floors, or maybe maximum you can increase one more floor in case if you get the permission on everything, or you can maybe reduce the one floor because you might not really require. But when you are planning for that one, your foundation should be capable of handling 10 floors. If your foundation is weak, you cannot really go put 10 floors. If you have foundation is only for 5 floors, if you increase 10 floors, your building will collapse. Okay, exactly the same thing will happen with databases when, or maybe application, when you are trying to build up or develop any application, you have to consider that the foundation which you are really going with, it should be very very strong. And that foundation is nothing but your database. Your application's foundation is database. So you have to ensure that the database is very very good and designed and properly thought through, architected. So tomorrow if you are building an application, if your application is becoming big, then that time your application will not have any problem because of the database. That's one thing. So when you are creating this one, the primary key concept is really considering that how many tables I'm going to create, and in that table what kind of a relationship I need to maintain. Okay, so in this example I have two tables only, because I'm just maintaining an employee attendance system. There could be multiple things right inside this one, but I have two tables. In these two tables I want to maintain one primary key, because that way I can map this concept again this one. What is the relationship between these two, right? I should really mention something here, and that relationship is really coming from the employee ID. Okay, employee ID, as I said, it's a unique concept. Here it will be unique, but I can then create many records and I can really put up that particular concept here. Okay. Now, when I talk about the primary key, the auto incremental concepts or anything, whatever we have, we'll see this. There are some data types actually which are really important when you are creating that one. For example, when I create a data here, employee ID, when I'm going to add a data here inside this employee ID, I need to ensure, or I need to design, or I need to mention that what kind of a data I'm going to add up inside this field. Okay, so employee ID generally only will have a number. Name will always have a text. Password will also have a text. Project name will also have a text. So how can you define that? So here if you see, right, varchar equal to text. So varchar is a type, data type, which is supported by database, and this is what we have to really follow. So varchar is again a database. It is equal to text. So in case if you want to create a ID which says okay employee ID or name is should be the primary the type for that particular name should be something like a varchar. Okay, that's a type you need to really mention at the time of creating the table. Okay, that table creation is also a process. I'll explain you in the code actually how it is getting created, and we'll see that. Integer is equal to number, boolean is equal to true or false, and then date type is equal to date and time. Like this one you also have many types. Actually there are multiple types which you can really go with. I'm just picking up the four major, or the top actually, which generally we use. Okay, so we have the varchar, which is text. So in case if I want to put up a name, I want to really put up a text here. So this is why I have created these four fields, okay, which I have mentioned that what kind of a information I want to really create. So when you are creating a table inside your inside your database, you need to mention that I am going to create a table like employee table, and the fields for that tables will be employee underscore id, which is integer type. Integer int here I mentioned, right, integer type, and it's a primary key. This is the format I need to really provide when I'm creating a database. Then I'm saying name, and then I'm saying varchar. Okay, varchar is, again, as I mentioned, varchar is a text. Now here there is something like a 255 I mentioned. What is this 255? This 255 is a characters which I am trying to put up or allowing inside this text, because someone should not really put up a complete paragraph inside a name here, right? Because what is the name? A maximum name could be of maybe 100 characters, right? Your full name. Maybe in case if someone is having a very, very big name, that's fine, but maybe it will not go more than 150. But still, I'm giving 255 characters actually, which can be really added inside this one. So I can control this because it's a text, right? If I put up a text, I can really go as long as I want. But if I am controlling this 255, that I am controlling this because when you're creating a database, the more data you put up in a database, the slower your process will become, or the higher configuration you need to really go with. So this is where the database design is also very important. When you are creating a database design, you have to also consider not only the relationship, but also the capacity requirement, the compute requirement, the performance of that database, how that query will really happen, how fast I should really get the data and everything. That is also very important. Okay. Password, I know I don't want to go more than 50 characters. Okay, that's it. So I can really put up a block or maybe a control here saying that only 50 characters allowed, not more than that. Okay, then project varchar, again 100. Project name, maybe 100 is also very high, I can just put up 20, that's it. Or I can put up just 10 because my project name will be below than 10. So this is how I have to really mention the types here. Okay, now when I talk about the tables and creation and everything is ready, right? The table is already there. I have added a data. I have created a table, say like for example, and I have started adding some data here. I have created the employee ID and everything. Now, how can I really ensure or how can I search the data using this particular tables? Because in a Excel sheet I can just simply log in, I can just go through something, I can put up the formulas and everything, I can put up a filter and I can start filtering that information. But how can I do it from the SQL thing? So for SQL there is a concept or there is a query when you talk about SQL, right? SQL is a structured query language, and this is what we have also seen here, right? Structured query language, query using SQL, which is structured query language. Now, when I talk about structured query language, as I mentioned, it's a query language. Query, you can query some stuff. You have a query, and that query you are actually running against your database on a table whenever you really want. Generally, the query will always go against database. So within the database, you are trying to run some commands, okay, and you are trying to get some information. Now these commands, the one which we are seeing, they can be used for system administration, and also they can use for your application development. All the application, whatever you see right now, if you want to interact with these databases, you have to use these SQL queries. As simple as that. Okay, so they will get information and they will provide you. Now some of the applications like Python, Node.js, now they came up with a very advanced level of things where they have already created classes and everything and libraries which can easily query that data and give you a very fast results. That's why we use those technologies rather than using manually. But in case if I manually want to use this, right, manually I have some few details here, you can see here, right? I'm really trying to build up some SQL queries here. So the first query is select star from employee table. and always end with this semicolon. Semicolon will actually ensure that your statement is complete. You can just run it. So whenever you say semicolon, that means this is the query you want to really run. So what you are trying to do here with this particular approach. So here you are saying I want to select, and this is a query language as I mentioned, and this is how you have to really write it. I want to select star. Star means everything, right? Star means everything from employee table. Now say like I have four fields here, four records here. It will print all four records. Okay, it will give me all the four records, whatever I have, and then it will going to print it. Now say like imagine you have lot of records here. You have hundreds of records, millions of records in this one. But now you want to only see a information for ABC user, only ABC user. You are not really looking for any other user. So what is the command? In that when I can say select star again from table, the employee table, the table name here which I am talking about here, where this is the condition I am putting up in my SQL query, where name. Now I'm putting up the name field here. That is why the field name is also important. Name is equal to ABC in a double quotes. Now here I'm explicitly mentioning that I want an employee details, okay? And right now I'm putting up just four details here, right? I can put up multiple details. I can have like 50 details here, like phone number, email address, mobile number, whatever I have, I can really put up here 10 different fields, and I can get that information only for that ABCP person. Okay, this is how you might have seen, right? When you click on someone's maybe you are opening one application, you clicking on a user, and then immediately when you are opening that user details, you are getting all the information about that user, because behind that there is a script actually which run and which fetch the data, and this is the data fetching which is happening. Select star from table name where name equal to ABC. Now in the next thing, I want to only, as I mentioned, I have created 100 of things here. But out of that 100 things, I don't want all the information. I want only basic information. I want only few fields. Because here I'm talking about star. Star means it will give me all the fields, whatever the fields I have. But in case if I want only name and the project name of the employee, okay, and that too only from the project which is equal to Dave. So I want to see all the names and the project name of the person who are really in this Dev project. What is the query? The query is select name, comma, project. Okay, spelling is sorry for the spelling here, but it should be project. It should be this one. So name, comma, project from employee table again, where project equal to Dave. So that means here I can, because here I will get only one, sorry, I will get only one value here. How many records I will get? I will get only one record because I have only one ABC here. But here I may get multiple records, because say like in here also I will get only one. But say like in case if I add multiple project, because one person or one project will not be just one person, right? You can have like 10 people in the same project. If you add all the data here, you will get this information. Now here, I want to see all the people. Now here there is one more interesting thing. Now here I just say check the name and the project, and then I've got the information about that particular thing. But the another query is very interesting. It is saying select count name. That means now I want to see how many people are actually inside my dev project. How many people? I want to have a count, only count, right? This is useful for the dashboarding. So you might have seen that 100 people likes you, or 200 people liked you, or 300 people shared your video, or maybe this particular team is having 300 people, or 400 people, 500 people. What that data is coming from? That data is coming from this particular query, because we are counting that data. I'm counting all the likes actually which I have. I'm counting all the shares or views actually of my videos I have, and that count is something which is coming up. Okay, and that count also I am putting up a condition here that where project is equal to Dave. Okay, I can also mention that okay, select the count specifically with the projects, all the project I want to see how many people are in which project. I can get that pivot also. Pivot is a terminology used in Excel file where you can put up all the things and you can get the extraction of data. So I want to know only that in the dev project how many people I have, in a DevOps how many people I have, in admin how many people I have, and in security how many people I have. You can really get that also. Okay, so these are all the select statement which we are talking about. Select means querying a data, just getting a data, retrieving a data. But how about adding a data? In case if I want to add anything into my records, how can I really add it? So for that you need to really run a command like insert, because you are trying to insert some data into insert into employee table, which is a table name. You are trying to insert some data into the employee table, and you have to mention the values or a fields actually where you want to save the data or put up data or insert the data. So you are saying insert into employee table, and you need to also provide all the fields actually which are important. Okay, so here we have name, password, and project. Now I said name, password, and project, and I'm saying values. Values is RK, the password is XXX, and DevOps is my project. Now, whatever the way you have provided the fields, same exact way I have to provide it here. You cannot skip it. This is a format. You have to follow this. As simple as that, right? If you have four fields here, you have to provide four fields, and first field will go with this, second field will go with this, third will go here, fourth will go here. Now we have skipped the employee ID here. Any guesses why we did that? Anyone? What is the reason we are not really putting up a employee ID here? No one? Guys, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. We can hear you.
Okay. So employee ID is why we are actually not putting, because we are automatically setting that, or if we have already set it that in the last time we've said it's a auto incremental. So when you say primary key, these kind of a concept actually we also mention as a auto incremental thing. So that's where when I'm going to create a new record here, it is going to automatically add a 005 here. Automatically it is going to add a 005 and then going to put up all the information. So my employee will automatically get one unique ID which is not available in my existing table. Okay, that's why we are not really putting up here. Now, in case if I have
Sir,
inserted the data,
small doubt, sir.
yes,
If you're taking employee name, then there would be duplication also. Then how it will identify? For example,
no, again,
Srinivas
yes,
is a name.
hmm
Huh.
hmm
If multiple Srinivas are there, then how it would identify?
yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So there could be multiple Srinivas, but when you are updating this information, okay, you will get a return in employee ID. And now employee ID will become your one important aspect. So in case if someone asks you, right, in a company, what they generally ask you, they will ask you, hey, what is your employee ID? Name is fine, I understand that one. But the data they will search using an employee ID. They will not search using your name. They'll start with name. They'll say, okay, no problem. I know Srinivas, fine. But I can see like 100 Srinivas in my company. They will say, hey, what is your full name? Or give me your employee ID. Because using an employee ID, it will be easy for them to search. So database will allow you. Database will not stop you. Database doesn't understand that is it a Srinivas, is it a Rohit, or is it anyone else. Okay, so it
So here,
doesn't understand that.
why are we taking name instead of employee ID? Because employee ID is the unique one. Instead of that, why we are taking name here?
No, we are inserting a name here, right? We are inserting a information here.
Okay.
Okay, you are inserting a information. Without
Okay.
inserting the information, how can you get that information? But unique employee ID we are not inserting. because
Okay.
it is auto incremental. It is automatically
Hmm.
incrementing.
Okay.
Getting?
Got it.
There could be
Got it.
some scenarios. There could be some scenarios where I can explicitly mention the employee ID. That also is fine. That is also a mechanism you can really do it. I'm not saying that you cannot really do that. I can also create an employee ID as a unique ID and I have to generate that. So I am now not dependent on the table or a database to really create that. I can say now I want to really create a something like a my own project thing or whatever the name I want to really give, I can give that. So that customization you can still do. Okay, this is again, as I said, it's a basic one, right? But in an advanced one, no, people will not really go like that one. An employee ID will not be always 004. It can be anything. If you have like Infosys, for example, right? Maybe you can say IF and then your name or whatever the credentials you kind of have, that could become your employee ID. So it's not always the number. It can be anything, but that should be unique. The formula is unique. It should be unique. Okay. Similarly, when sorry. Okay. Similarly, as I mentioned. Once we done the select, we have done the insert thing. Another aspect is update. Say like in case if I have I inserted some data and suddenly I found out, oh, actually I know what I did. Instead of the project to specify for this particular guy, I've actually accidentally put up the DevOps here. The project should not be that. The project should be different, or the project is got changed. So initially I got into the DevOps thing, but now I actually got into the security. So how can I really update this data? Because I am now trying to update the data here. So data could be update, could be something like I want to update my employee table. What I'm going to update and everything as you can see here, right? We are running against a database. That's why we have to explicitly mention the table name here. Without table name, you cannot really get that information. Okay. So I'm saying update my employee table where I am setting the data. Set is a command. Set project. What I am going to set? I am going to set the project here. Project is my field name equal to dev, right? I am saying set dev where name equal to SSL. So say like I have added one query here. The name is SSL. Okay. And currently the SSL is having a project name as security. I want to change this SSL's project name from security to dev. So for that I can do what I can do. I can say set project equal to dev where name equal to SSL. Now ideally I should not use the name here because I can have a name here, right? I can say employee ID. I should say where employee ID is 004. So that's where it will make 100% clear. And these are the design and these are the development things. So actually you have to be careful when you are really writing it. Very, very important. Okay. Now the last thing is delete. In case if I want to delete something from this particular table, and this is where I have to use the employee ID because I want to delete entire thing. So I can delete everything from that one, but when I'm trying to about deleting one thing, I can delete one thing here, or I can say where project is equal to dev. Here, in case if I run this delete command, it will delete only one record. But if I run it where project is equal to dev, then whoever is in the dev, it will run delete everything. So that will become a very, again, a very non-reversible activity. Once you delete the record, you are done. You cannot recover that one until you go and backup, take a backup and then put up there. Okay, that's again a hectic process. So when you are deleting that one, you have to be very careful. So you are deleting one record, you are deleting multiple records, or you are deleting the entire table. You can do that. So you can say, I want to delete the entire table, delete table, employee table. I can delete the complete table. Okay. Or I can delete all the things, all the people who are actually in that particular project. I can delete it. So that's the main advantage or kind of like things which you can really do it. Select, insert, update, and delete. These are the four major commands actually which you will be really going. Apart from this, we can also have one more thing because we have created this employee attendance system to attend to get the attendance from every employee. Now that means we have to have a relationship. We have to select the data from multiple tables. You can really do that. How can you really do that? You can do that using a join statement. You can join these two tables while selecting the data. Okay, so for that you need to run something like select e.name, e.project, a.data, and a.attendance. Now what is this a.e. First of all, this name is actually what I want. I want from the employee table, I want two things. I want name and the project, and from the attendance table, I want date and attendance. Okay, these are the two things which I really want, or four things which I want. I want 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want star. I want only name, project, date, and attendance. But they are from the two different tables. So how can I say that if they are from the two different table, how can I use the name here, or how can I use the project here? Like the way here I use name and project, but I cannot use that when you are really joining two tables. Okay, because here also there could be something like a name. Here could be something like, again, I can have, right? I can also have a name here. So how can I differentiate here? So for that differentiation, when you are saying this from employee table, I'm actually, for the employee table, I am giving a reference number, or a kind of like a short name I am assigning to that particular table as E here. And this E is getting added to my employee table. I can either say employee table dot name, employee table dot project, attendance table dot date, and attendance table dot attendance. I can name complete like that, or I can give a short name and I can use that name here, which is e dot name, e dot project, and a, where I'm saying join. So I'm joining two tables here, from employee ID E, join attendance table A. A and E are my temporary names which I am giving, or temporary values which I am actually assigning to my table while I'm running this script, or running this particular query. Now, when I say join, it will ask me where you want me to join. How can I ensure that I'm joining on a unique and a identity which is actually I can take it. So that unique identity I'm saying on, where I need to join on e dot employee id equal to a dot employee id. These two things, go and join these two things. So whenever you find 001, join it 001 here. So all 001 will get joined here. So 111, 222, 333. So I'll get now all the information. So now with this query, I will get a command, I will get a request saying that, okay, I want to really run name, okay, password and project, and I can really go to it. I will show you this in a live scenario in the next class, so you will actually get some more understanding about this one, right? Today I actually missed that creating of things and all, but we can see, or maybe I'll see in case if we can really create this particular thing. Okay, so with this one, let's get back to our demo, or our portal, and let's try to create this one. So there's one more thing I have actually kind of like show you when we are talking about this one, right? So we have three things which you have, or four things, three things which you have already seen. Okay. Now inside this one, there are main services, or three services, kind of like the SQL thing when you talk about. We have MS SQL, okay, is I generally call it as a SQL Server. You also have an open source one, which is MySQL, okay, which is a open source, which is free. Okay, and then you can also have something like a PostgreSQL, and then the very popular and also a very industry grade solution, which is, I'll just say with this one, so that way it will be easy for us to understand, Oracle database, right? So you have four choices actually which you can really go with. Okay, from the relational database perspective when I'm talking about, or these are all relational database. Okay, RDBMS, Relational Database Management System, Relational Database Management systems. Now these four things, okay, we will be having. This is not available in your currently. This is not really supported in Azure. You cannot really use that or create this Oracle database. Currently, I think they are working on this one. Soon you will be having it, but currently you cannot have this Oracle database as a service. Okay, and these are all as a service. But you can have a MySQL, you can have SQL, MySQL, and Postgre. They are all again the database system. They have their own use cases. If you want to go with a free version or a non-paid version, you can really go with this option. If you have a in open source but you have a very heavy system, a very big system, definitely you can want to go with this particular solution, Postgres, which is again a very popular and very demanding for CRM solutions. But if you want to go with the Microsoft SQL, which is again a very heavily provided, and Azure is actually providing a lot of good services. So Azure, and this is Microsoft own product, so this is the primary options actually which you can really go with within the cloud, which is also used for data warehouse solutions and multiple things. And Oracle is definitely the industry practice, but it's very very expensive. You need a dedicated hardware and there are a lot of configuration you need to really go with. SQL Server, yes, there is a cost, but it is again included when you are creating that as a service. So I'm going to show you how we can really create these services inside my Azure. Let's go ahead. I'm here. Now I'll start go with SQL Server here. SQL. So here you can see there are a bunch of options we have: SQL Server, SQL Virtual Machine, SQL databases and all. There are bunch of things which they have already provided. Now when I talk about SQL Server and SQL databases, this is where we are going to create it. I'll go and click on SQL database and I'm going to create a database here. Now when I create a database, generally what happens, you will get an instance of database. Oh, sorry, instance of SQL Server. On top of this SQL instance, you can really have something like a database here. Okay? So this is a database which is inside this server. Like this one, you can have multiple databases inside your SQL Server. Multiple databases. You can have like hundreds of databases actually which can be really running. But again, it all depends on the performance and the size of your database server. So if you have a server, okay, which can really handle multiple databases, which is good. But from the best practices scenario, we have to really go with one-to-one scenario always. Like one database, just one server. Okay, you create another database on another server, another database on another server. That's where you should really map your or design your particular thing. Now I know one server, one database concept looks very good, but it's a cost. So you have to be very careful when you are really doing these kind of a scenarios. Perfect. Okay, let's go back. I'll create a data SQL database here. Even though I start creating the database here, it will ask me that where is your server, because it has to also create that server. Okay, let's see how can we really create. So I will select on resource group. I will use one resource group, new resource group, and I'm going to say RG SQL demo or a DB demo. Okay, and then I'm going to create or put up a database name for this one. What is the database name? As I mentioned in the slide which we have seen, we have actually going to create the employee and attendance DB. Let's copy this name and let's see in case if we can allow it here. Yes, it is allowing me employee attendance DB. I'm going to create this database here. Now server. I don't have any server, as I mentioned, right? You need to create a server also. It is allowing me to really create a server. So I'm going to create a new server here. I'm going to click on new server here and I'm going to say SQL or maybe demo SQL Server. Okay, already in use. Okay, and I'm just going to put up my name here. Perfect. And I'm going to say India. Where is India? Central India. And I'm going to say use the SQL authentication. Use the normal SQL authentication, and I'm putting a username and a password here. So I'm saying SQL admin. and the secure password. I put up the username and a password. This is very important. You have to be keep understanding about what password and what username and you are using. Now here it automatically selected the demo server name. Okay. Uh, do you want to use the elastic pool? We are not going to use an elastic pool. We'll talk about the elastic pool and everything, coming days. But we are not going to use it. We are just going to say no. Now, this elastic pool is something like, if you have a production level details, and if you want to really scale that to higher level, you can definitely use this elastics and all those concepts, whatever you have. Perfect. Now, workload environment. When I talk about workload environment, here itself, it is understanding that what kind of a workload I'm going to run on this particular server or a database. I am going to run just a development because I'm doing it for the development purpose. I'm not going for the production one because for production, it will really suggest me to go with a higher configuration. I don't want to go with that higher configuration. I want to go with a very minimum because I have just a very small database and I'm just using it for the demo purpose. I'm just going it. But yes, in a production environment, you have to really select this one. But don't worry, it will not be your job. Your job will be to just create the production environment, but you will be working with the database team, and this is where your requirement gathering will really come into the picture. When you are going to create, because you are the one who is going to create the resources, but who will give you the exact requirement? The requirement will should be coming from the development team and the database management team. They will tell you the requirement, saying that look, we are going to deploy a production system. We are expecting that there will be like 1 million users, and that based on that analysis, you will kind of like and that also you will not do that. A DevOps architect or the person who is really senior who will be doing that one, they will give you, hey, look, you have to create this kind of an instance. Your task will be to create the instance by providing the configuration. That's it for now, at least. As you grow in your role, definitely you will also get that understanding that how should we really, what kind of a scenarios we need to really put up when you are designing something. Perfect. I'm putting out a development. I'm taking a local redundant storage. I don't want a geo redundant and everything. I'm going with this one. Here I want to really create connectivity method. I want to enable the public endpoint. Now, when I talk about last time also we have seen, right, the private and the public, when we created thing, right, we haven't really allowed anyone to access our actual server, the web application. So do you think when we are allowing it to web application, should we really allow a public endpoint access to be enabled for that one? Ideally, no. You should not allow any public access from your database. That is definitely not, should not be happen. Database access should be very, very limited. Okay, and person only in that particular network or authenticated user should only allowed to get access. But from the demo perspective, I'm just allowing this public endpoint here. Okay, I'm just saying public endpoint. Now here there is one more thing when I talk about. By default, even you allow this public endpoint, it is giving me two choices. Hey, even though you allow the public access, do you want to enable it only for the resources which are kind of like the Azure resources? Like for example, I'm going to use web application. Then yes, I want my web service can connect to my SQL server, and I want only my current IP should be interacting with my SQL server. Okay, I'll show you that also. I'll just click on yes here. Okay, now I say current IP address. I have selected yes, and I have also enabled the access to my services. Now, what I'm actually trying to mean here, or what I'm trying to do here, is that if I go back, okay, in a scenario here, it's say like I'm going to create this. There are two accesses, right? It's my laptop, personal laptop, the one what I'm using right now, okay, as a user, okay, and then I can also have my web app. Correct. Now what I want this web app can also access my application even though the public access is enabled, and I should also be able to access from my local laptop to this database just from the testing purpose, because I want to do some querying, some data and all those things. So I am allowing only these two accesses. I'm not allowing anybody else to really do this. But this web application, because it's a part of Azure itself, right? Okay, so I am enabling with this option, I'm enabling that yes, I want my Azure services to really connect. But these are any Azure services, or I can only allow the services which I am creating in my environment. So I'm allowing this one, right? Even though I have enabled the private endpoint, this private endpoint is not allowed for anybody else. It's only allowed for these two options. Perfect. Okay, then I'm going to say default everything. TLS by default security is enabled. I'm going to click on here. Start free trial, not now. Enable Microsoft Defender, not now. I don't want anything here. Ledger and server identity and everything, I'm just keeping it here. Always encryption. For now, I'm going to say off. Okay, use existing data collection, the collation and all those things. I'm just keeping it as it is. Review and create, and I'm going to say create here. Data. So now for this one, in case if I want to really connect this one, because I am now creating a database, right? I can connect, as I mentioned, I can connect it using two options. The first option is I can really use something like the application. Using that application, I can connect and I can see the data, whatever I'm really doing. Or there is one more option which we can really try, and that option is something like a Azure Data Studio. It's a tool which is provided by Azure itself to connect to your databases. So in case if I go here, Azure Data Studio, I can really download. This is a free tool. Okay, there are a few tools actually, like the way I've explained you, like we have to use the Storage Explorer. That Storage Explorer was to actually kind of like upload the data, right? This Data Studio is also for connecting to your databases. It's like a SQL Studio. You might have heard about something like a SQL Studio. This is an extended version of SQL Studio. So now if I connect this one, this is the thing. We can just have to download this. Once you download, it will really be installed, and this is how it will open. Why it's not opening? Okay, you can download. You can use this user installer. Go with 86. Let me download this. One minute, data store. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we can actually have something like this. Okay, take some time. Okay, so with this one, you can kind of like start connecting with your database, whatever you have. So let's go back and let's see here. So my resource is ready. Okay, fine, no problem. I'll go to my resources and I can see this server name, right? Whatever the surname I have, and there is also a database which I really created, right? So I'll have to go to my database to ensure that I'm creating that. So this is my server, and this is the database which I have actually created inside this server. Okay, so to connect to my server, because I have added my configuration, my access to my particular IP address, I am able to connect to this one. So I just have to copy this. Okay, and the username and a password which I already use, I'll just click here and I'm going to say connection string. I'm going to use the server name here. Okay, it's asking me Windows authentication. I'm saying no. I'm going to use the SQL login. SQL login, I am providing SQL admin, the one which I've used, and the password, right, which I have used here. Perfect. Now the moment I say here, it should give me the list of database. It is loading, right? So it is trying to connect to my database and it is automatically giving me the database table. Can you see? Okay, so it is giving me that yes, I am able to connect. So I am selecting the employee table, encryption and everything is fine, and I'm just going to connect to this one. Now why it is allowing me to connect? Because I have logged in from my local system and I have allowed actually to connect to this database. Okay, this is what the kind of like things which I have seen. This is my database connection which I am really done. Okay, using my local system. Now let's see, let's try to understand. I'll just click new query here. Okay, this is where the query will really get started. So if I see here that show me all the tables and everything whatever I have, okay, I will have to run something like show tables. Okay, and I don't think we will be having any table here. I'm going to say just run here. It will not really show me anything here, right? Although because there is nothing here which I am really created. So in case if I want to really run some queries, I need to run queries which will create table and table names. So say like in case if I want to create something here, I'll say create table, and then I'm going to say table name is employee underscore table, and I'm going to run this one. What happened? 1 minute. Okay. Read query. Incorrect syntax. Employee table name. Okay, 1 minute. SQL admin. We don't have it here. I think they have changed something here. But minute. New query refresh. New query employee table. Yeah, employee table is fine. 1 minute, huh? Create table and emp hyper table. Employee table. What happened? Create table. I think we need to also provide the fields and everything here. Let me get that script. 1 minute. So let's put up this query, something like this, and let's try to run this now.
Sir,
Okay, so
the
now
screen sharing
oh,
is
okay,
not
sorry,
happening.
sorry. Can you see it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so while creating the table, right, we need to really provide this kind of information saying that, okay, we have a employee table which is incremental, identity, primary key and everything, the name, password and the project, right? This is the information which we have really added. Now, once we added this information, the second query, what I can really do, okay, I can really delete this one, or I can paste the query here to insert some data. Now, the one which we have seen here, right? In the here, maybe let me add up this information also here, so it will really give me some more understanding. Okay, so the second thing, say like in case if I want to insert some information, so I'll copy this. Okay, copy this command, and we will have to really put up like this one. But again, inside this one, I'm just going to say insert into. Okay, sorry, insert into table name, right? Employee table, and then we have to provide the values, or maybe the kind of like the fields which we have. So what the fields we have? We have name, okay, comma, I have password, comma, I have project. These are the three fields. Now for these, I need to say values. Again, values when I talk about, so I will start with single quotes and I'll say the first value is, as I said, right, ABC. Then I'm going to mention something like XXX, okay, and I'm going to mention something like a Dave here. Okay, this is my project and I'm going to insert this one. I just select it and I'll say run. The moment I say select and run, it will only run one query. Can you see there is one query which is really already created? Now I'm going to say another query which is select star, or select star from employee table, and let's select this one and run this. Now with this one, you can see that it is giving me that there is one employee, there is a ABC name, the password is this, and the project is this one. Now, in case if I want to add more data here, what I can do, I can just copy this insert query, I can paste it here, and I can just change the names here. So instead of ABC, now I'll say XYZ, or maybe I'll say RK, and then I'm just going to change the names here. Okay, DevOps, and then maybe I can copy this command, I can paste it again, and I can say, and here I can just close it with this. Okay, and I am going to say this RK Srini, for example, and he is a part of, again, a Dave. Okay, I will copy, say like I'm just putting up some name here, and say like security, for example, security. uh, okay, and I'm going to add up one more inform or one more data here. These are just the queries which I'm creating, right? Dev, for example, or maybe again Rama, and then maybe here is from the admin, right? So these are the four things which I've created. I select this all four and I'm just going to run this. So it says one row affected because I have already added that. In case if I go back again, select this query and run it, I can see all the four names here, right? Now this is how you can really interact with your actual employee table, whatever you're going to create inside this one. Perfect. Now, as I mentioned, right, there are some queries also we can run. If I have already these queries which I have already written, I can now go back and I say, show me all the names where the project is exactly the same. So what we are going to do, select, I'm going to say select, and then I'm going to say name, comma, project, right? The ID should be same. And then I should say from employee table where what? Where name is equal to ABC. Let's see in case if this can run. Okay. I think name is equal to, wait a minute, where name, see, like this, 1 minute. I think the query, select query, right? Should be something like this only. So name should be, let me select name comma project from employee ID where, yeah, comma project. Yeah, what's the problem? Then I'm been saying, okay, let's put up a single quote here where name is equal to, and just run it. Okay, it is taking, it is not taking this name equal to Dave here, so because Dave is a capital letter. Okay, I will have to run it. Okay, what happened? So I have a project. Okay, project should be Dave. Sorry for that one. The query should be something like this, right? Because I am selecting the project, the name project from employee where the project name should be this one. I'll just run this and I can now see the people actually who are really coming from this particular project. Okay, now let's see how can we really do the count here. Okay, so okay, so I'm going to say, I'll just copy this one and I'll just paste it here. And this time I'm just going to add a count here. Okay, count, and I'm going to say name. Okay, and with this one I'm just going to mention this as a names, maybe name count or something like that. I just mention something like a name count. Okay, and then I'm going to delete this from employee table where project equals to Dev. Exactly, so remaining everything is same. I'm just getting a count, so I should really get 2 here. I'll just say run and I should check name count 2 only, right? This is how you can really go ahead and execute some details here. Now when we talk about update, let's run the update command here. Update, insert is done, select is done. Now let's see update. What we are going to update employee table. Set, I'm going to set this Sudha's project from security to again a dev. Let's see. So I'm going to say name equal to, or project, sorry, I'm going to project, set project equal to single quote security or dev. Okay, where name is equal to Sudha. Okay, I'm going to run this one. Let's see. Currently if I run only this command, select star from employee, from employee table where name equal to Sudha. Let's see what is going to happen. It's just selecting, so I can see this project is security. I'm going to update this. The update is done. I'm going to again rerun this one. I can see now the project is Dave. Now in case if I go back again, run this count, last time it was 2. Let's see, now it is 3, right? So in case if I run this again with the project name here, I can see 3 names here. So this is how you can really rerun, get the information and execute your commands within the Azure things, right? Perfect. Let's see the final one, delete one. So in case if I want to delete, okay, delete, and then as we can see here, delete uh 1 minute. Okay, so delete, let's give from table, which is employee table, and I'm saying where, okay, name, or I'm going to say ID here, right? Whenever I talk about this one, select, in case if I want to run this particular thing, I want to just delete this particular thing, I should say employee ID is equal to just 4. That will actually remove this particular line. In case if I remove this one, In case if I want to delete, okay, from employee table where Dave, or maybe where project is equal to Dave, then it is going to delete all three records. But in case if I want to delete the entire table, okay, delete and then employee table, I can delete these things. So these are the three kind of like things which we can really do with, and we can completely delete whatever we have. So I'll just run one command first. Run. I can see one affected. If I go back again, select star from, so I don't have anything here. If I run this command, I cannot see Sudha here. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run this particular command. It is going to delete these two also. Let's run. Two affected. If I go back here, nothing is there. Now in case if I want to delete the entire table, run. The table is deleted. In case if I run anything, select from star from table, there is nothing here. Okay, so this is how you can really go ahead and do some kind of a changes. So please try this one in your local laptop and ensure that you have all this information which is put up. Perfect, guys. Any questions so far before we wrap up for day?
No, sir.
Perfect. Okay. So tomorrow onwards, guys, we will be actually meeting at 7:30 because it's getting late, really late for me. 9:30 actually, and I am sure you must be having some office things and all. So it's really getting delayed. So tomorrow onwards, we'll start with 7:30 sharp. Okay, we'll go with 8:30 or 8:45, and then we'll close. Okay. So for tomorrow, please join at 7:30 onwards. Perfect. Thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.